Welcome to the Heroes of the Storm World Championship, where 8 of the top teams in the world will battle it out for cash prizes and a chance to make history. 5 global regions have sent their best to Burbank, California, representing Korea, Europe, China, Taiwan, and the Americas. These 5-player teams have proven they have what it takes to rise to the top of the ranks. But will they be able to bring down their rivals and claw their way to the finals at BlizzCon? There, they'll battle it out for a chance at the $200,000 grand prize and the ultimate bragging rights of the first Heroes of the Storm World Championship title. Join us for every team fight, every Dragon Knight rampage, and every moment of glory the Nexus can handle, as the Heroes of the Storm World Championships begin at BlizzCon opening week.
Hello friends and welcome to the Heroes of the Storm BlizzCon World Championship opening week. I'm Anna Prosser-Robinson and I am so thrilled to be your host today as we begin this global competition to find out which team truly is the best in the world. I'm sorry you can't be here with us at ESL Studios in Burbank, California, but don't worry, I'll be here bringing you some behind-the-scenes info and, of course, interviews with your favorite players as the story unfolds. Let's start that story right now, shall we? We have 8 of the world's best teams anxiously waiting backstage to come out and represent their regions in the fight for this championship title. They are, first from North America, it is Tempo Storm and Cloud9. From Europe, Na'Vi and Team Dignitas. From China, YL and Braveheart. From Korea, Team DK. From Taiwan, GIA. These teams will face off today, and then of course, the competition will continue next week at BlizzCon, where our teams will continue their quest to take home the World Championship trophy and be one step closer to winning their share of our $500,000 prize pool. That means third place takes home $50,000, second place will take home $120,000, and first place is awarded $200,000 for a total of $500,000 on the line. That is a lot of esports dollars, my friends. And I will love to introduce you to a few people who know quite a bit about esports. It's our commentators. Solid Jake, tell us who they are.
All right, guys, welcome to the desk. My name is Solid Jake, and I'm honored and privileged to be sitting with 2 of the most well-renowned pro gamers of all time, Grubby and Todd. Welcome, my friends.
Thank you very much, Jake. It's so good to be here, and might I say, it's such an honor to be here, having a front row seat at the BlizzCon opening week to do the analytical commentary for you guys at home there.
As am I. The World Championship. This is the World Championship we've been waiting for, and I'm so happy to be here to share this moment with you guys.
Well, you know what? We have 8 of the best teams in the world, but they didn't just get invited. They had to battle it out over the last several months. It all began with the open tournaments, which then funneled into the regional events. We had Vegas and Prague just very recently, and here we are at the World Championship. In the World Championship, of course, the 8 teams, we will have 1 from Korea, 2 from Europe, 2 teams representing America. We have 2 teams from China and 1 final team from Taiwan.
This is going to be the best and biggest Global Heroes event to date.
It really is, and you know what? I can't wait to get into it, but let's talk a bit further about the teams. Now, in North America, it was all about Tempo Storm. They won June, July, and August, all 3 of the qualifiers, but when it came down to it, at Las Vegas, the Americas Championships, it was Cloud9 that got first place, and this really shook up things and set the stage for the state of America.
Yeah, and Europe was no less exciting, Jake, as we saw Team Dignitas, a very balanced team of individuals with a lot of faith in each other. They're a true rising force in the European scene right now. However, it was Na'Vi who was the star of the show at the European qualifiers, having a training bootcamp going into it and leading to a resounding 10-0 flawless victory.
And over in Korea, I think a lot of people expected MVP Black to do really well to qualify, but it was really, in the end, Team DK who eclipsed them completely. And if you think about the fact that MVP Black, they were not just only supposed to win the Korean qualifier, but also to win BlizzCon, that in itself really goes to prove that these guys, they completely deserve to be here.
Yeah, man.
Over in China, of course, we'll have two teams there, Team YL and, of course, Braveheart. And honestly, they've shown a lot of different strengths. Braveheart, the team that's been together for the least amount of time. And Team YL, they've been showing us some excellent play in the practice area.
Of course, let's not forget about Team GIA from Taiwan, the winner of that region. A bit of a more mysterious challenger here, but the hubbub, kind of the talk around the practice room is showing that actually they've been going hard in their practice games and have been surprising teams a little bit here left and right.
They're definitely a team with their own style, but it's been kind of hard to figure it out, so it's going to be cool to see what it ends up being.
Well, now we know a bit about the 8 teams. Let's take a look at the matchups here in the groups. On Group A, we have Cloud9 versus GIA, which will in fact be the first match of the day. And of course, Team Dignitas versus Team YL. Over in Group B, we have Tempo Storm versus Team DK and Braveheart versus Team Na'Vi. And guys, out of these 4 matches, which one are you most excited about?
I think for me, Team DK versus Tempo Storm really stands out. You have a team that's going into this tournament as maybe the biggest favorite versus perhaps the biggest fan favorite in Tempo Storm.
Yeah, that's true. I'm also really excited for Na'Vi versus Braveheart. Braveheart perhaps not the most well-known team here, which is why they're going to be the biggest surprise potentially. They could really impress here. But speaking about surprise, I love surprise strategies, and I feel like we saw that a lot at the European qualifier with Na'Vi after being already 9-0 in that final game there in the finals, showing really innovative hero choices. And I would love to see more of that. Are they going to bust it out yet against Braveheart, or is that going to come later? That's why I'm really excited about that match.
I'm sure we're going to have surprises, which if you think about it, we're not going to be so surprised about the surprises.
Either way, it's a big surprise.
Yeah, of course. Well, we know all of you are very excited about the matches, and let's actually just take a look at the schedule so we can map out the day. It all begins with Cloud9 versus GIA, then Dignitas versus YL, followed by Tempo Storm and Team DK, and lastly, Braveheart versus Na'Vi. Based on who advances in those matches will determine our 5th and 6th match of the day. But to introduce our first match of the day, we have Anna waiting over at the desk.
Thanks, Jake. We are here, of course, to watch some heroes, so let's make sure that happens soon, shall we? It's my pleasure to introduce you to our first 2 teams. The blue team is going to be the America's champion. It is none other than Cloud9. Team, the sole representative of their region of Taiwan, it's GIA. You guys know how they play, but it's always fun to hear what they think about each other. So let's take a look at what these teams think about this next match.
We're very confident going into our first round against GIA. We think that the NA scene is a lot more developed than their scene, so I think we have an edge just right from the start.
因为我们就是对上 C9， 那 C9 在我们这个小组赛算是我们就是比较担心的。那如果能打败他们的话，我们就是一定信心大增，就是对下一支队伍可能就也不会那么担心了。对。
I would say as a whole, their region is really not as strong as any of the other ones, so we're pretty confident.
那基本上 C9 的风格就是偏稳重、偏慢，那跟我们台湾的风格有点类似，所以打起来应该是还好。
No, we're not afraid of a dark horse. We're still really confident in our abilities and our drafting strategies.
就是我们台湾有一组战队叫做 AHQ， 那他们的矿坑是非常的强，那预选赛内也都没有输过。但是我们那一天在打台港澳决赛的时候，我们发挥我们预料之外的实力，把他们打败了。
To our opponents,
Watch your flanks.
I'd like to say come at us with everything you've got, because that's how we're going to come to you.
We're going to come to you with everything we have. It really seems like both of these teams are just brimming with confidence coming into this competition.
I think GIA, they pointed out that Cloud9 is one of the teams they're the most worried about, and it makes sense, you know, looking at this group. But they did say that they thought that Cloud9 has a similar style to them, which I'm not so sure this actually applies. Like, if you've seen any of GIA game, it really seems like they have this chaotic style, this organized, chaotic style somehow, which like this doesn't make sense. But once you'll see them play, you will see that they have this thing about their play that makes them so different than any other team.
Also, wouldn't you say, Todd, like it's a little bit risky to think that you know what kind of style your team is bringing to the BlizzCon opening week here and BlizzCon itself? Because if they think that they're going to be playing a calm style, and Cloud9 was like, let's flip the switch and present a completely different profile.
And that's something they've done in the past. Cloud9 can definitely bring the pain early, really based on the battlegrounds they're playing on. But we'll have to see how it all unfolds. Let's actually take a closer look at Cloud9 and the roster that we have here at the Road to BlizzCon. Now, Dunk Train, their captain, is of course their support player. We have Fan, iDream, K1 Pro, and then King Caffeine. But look at those stats, 46 and 19, rather impressive.
Absolutely. The thing is, in comparison to some of the teams that are there, this is not actually that good of statistics. And if you think about it, Cloud9, they had quite a few of those losses a while back. As of late is really the time when they've been winning more and more, and they overtook Tempo Storm in the NA regionals as well. So I think as of late, they've barely lost any games, and this is what really we should pay attention to.
Yeah, because you'll see later Tempo Storm has a really good record, but they had this big winning streak. But perhaps you could say that they peaked at the wrong time, whereas Cloud9 might be managing that a lot better.
Well, their opponents, GIA, we have Alpha, Blue Way, God Dog, Lulumi, and Rival, and their results are quite even. 22 and 17. I mean, you can tell how close that region of Taiwan was in their finals.
And it was very close. If you look at the tournament results of the qualifier in Taiwan and the previous tournaments in Taiwan in other competitions, you'll find that GIA was very much winning and losing, and against their finals opponent they had lost many of the previous encounters, but were somehow able to triumph. And that does mean that they're at the moment growing. They're growing up. They're coming into themselves. But is this stage within their reach, like to beat the opponents here? That is the question that we need to answer here.
Yeah, they got to prepare themselves here for this tournament. This is definitely a very different, I guess, team profile that we saw here than something we will see later on with Navi, you know, who haven't lost a single map in the European regionals. They go into this tournament, I don't think, as one of the teams that we expect to do really well, GIA, but again, there's that huge question mark on how well they might be able to do, and they might surprise us.
They very well might. Well, it sounds like the draft is ready to roll, so let's hop into the first draft here of the World Championship that will be on Cursed Hollow.
All right, usually the first man will be something very specific, something like Zeratul or Abathur, who not only is a strong pick for either team, but also changes the gameplay completely. Not surprised to see Abathur here.
You know, really specific to Cloud9, they really dislike facing push compositions. And a lot of the time, heroes like Lost Vikings or Abathur on a larger battleground will be banned out if they're worried that the enemy team wants to utilize that.
Absolutely. It seems like GIA was a little bit worried about Sonya here, so they just get this out of the way. They want to make sure they don't have to face Sonya when she's angry, because she can do a lot of damage, take out people very quickly. Even on any map, really, on Cursed Hollow as well, when those tributes come up, she's not just going to be delaying those tributes, but usually killing people and end up being the last one standing when it comes down to capturing those tributes.
Now that does give the first pick to Cloud9, and they're going to be picking up Jaina. Jaina's a great first pick because she's got a really nice toolkit. She's got every ability, can do Frostbite, that trait that slows enemy heroes and that can provide additional damage every time you hit them again with your spells. And it's a very versatile and good first pick.
And she's got two great heroic abilities. I mean, when we see Ring of Frost or Water Elemental, it can really shift the battlefield quite a bit.
Yeah, and you can also adjust, as we see here, Ring of Frost in action against these minions. Depending on what kind of composition you're facing, you can pick one or the other.
That was a better Ring of Frost than the first one. Generally, very high value heroic that you want to use on heroes rather than minion waves, but devastating if used correctly.
That Gazlo never saw it coming, did he?
All right, well, GIA, they now get two picks. They're debating them right now as to how they want to open up this draft. showing that they don't want to have Sonya. They might want to prioritize an early melee assassin like Kerrigan.
Yeah, and if you want Kerrigan, you've got to pick up Uther generally, who can put a Divine Shield on someone and make them temporarily invincible and free to wreak their havoc unopposed. That Divine Shield heroic is one of his most amazing abilities, but also Holy Light, just one of the biggest burst heal in the game, and can really help to keep someone up who's being focus fires by an enemy team.
And on a map like this, where you're going to be fighting a lot for tributes, if Uther was one of the first guys to die, there still is straight. He's still going to be alive for a little while longer, able to keep on healing his teammates for just a little bit more, and that could potentially help them a lot here in winning some of those tribute fights here for GIA.
GIA has done their homework. They know how strong iDream is on Sonya, so they take that away. Dunk Train, his favorite hero, is Uther. They take that away. And K1 Prone is the legendary Toronto player from North America. These are all targeted picks and bans.
Yeah, and you're starting to see now what we've heard about GIA is that they are a team that love to counterpick.
Yeah.
So some of these teams here, when quizzed, they were like, well, you know, we're just believing in our own strength. But GIA takes each match as a unique one. All of the 7 opponents here will have been thoroughly investigated by them. That's why it's so cool to see those picks, Jake.
So if you're Cloud9 here and you start to figure out that GIA are trying to basically prevent you from getting your ideal heroes and composition, I guess you already start thinking about what's second best, ideally, right?
Yeah. I think you start to fall back to generally comfortable heroes as well and say, something like very versatile like Tassadar. Very strong pick right now. Adds a lot with those shields.
I mean, Tassadar has really risen in power recently, ever since the change to his shield, where it's pretty much always off cooldown, it seems. He's so powerful, and this could also mean that they are still looking for a melee. Even without Sonya, Kerrigan is still a great pick. Once in a while, we even see Thrall, but they're going to keep those picks for the later portions of the draft.
And also, Tassadar on this map can help and delay the capture of some of these tributes. There's going to be the Oracle that's going to help in taking some great engagements, avoiding dicey situations. And then the pick on Muradin. They're not going to let Uther, Tyrande, and Muradin be together. They make sure that they don't let Muradin slip away here from them, Cloud9. And
good point, because we've already got such a strong
yes.
chain of stuns on GIA's side with Uther and Tyrande, so Muradin would just completely round it out.
And just the story of a melee, if we did in fact see a Illidan or something, it's good to have Muradin on your side because you deny them the ability to get reverberation, but Avatar gives him that huge health bar. He can just tank so much damage in the front lines, and he's a formidable threat.
Yeah, Stormbolt, Avatar, and that healing trait to keep him on the map for a very long time. Now, there's one more hero that really fits GIA's profile, and it's going to be Kael'thas, the only other ranged stun hero that has stun from level 1 onward. So I'm curious to see if we might see that ban coming out from Cloud9 here.
This is interesting, though.
Yeah.
Lost Vikings being banned out here, that's a hero Cloud9 does not play a lot of. But again, that's the story of the soak. Abathur was banned. Maybe they're worried that Cloud9 is looking to grab Lost Vikings themselves.
There we go with the Kael'thas ban. Want to make sure GIA doesn't get the dream stunning combination and say, okay, go ahead and take a hero without stuns on range.
You saw it coming, Gravi. I saw you the best. What's next?
Lucky guess.
Okay, well, they opt for Vala for one of their ranged assassins, not being able to pick up Kael'thas. Vala is still a very strong damage dealer.
Yeah, and since Kael'thas and Jaina were already gone, it's perfectly normal here to turn to somebody like Vala, who's going to be a very steady damage dealer over time throughout the entire game. She's going to be able to do so much of this damage here.
Usually Vala, more sustained damage, which means more damage over time, which means you like longer fights to a degree. She can still have a bit of burst, but not as much. So they're looking to have a bit of a longer fight there. And Leoric kind of works the same way as well. Leoric has dropped off a bit, but he's certainly still very viable.
He's one of the most picked hero from both teams, actually, and just a very popular one in general. So it makes perfect sense here for GIA to finally turn their attention towards some of these warriors, because they didn't have one yet.
Just very curious, though, if they do go solo warrior with Leoric, that's not something we see all that frequently.
Yeah.
And they do have the stuns with Tyrande and Uther, so maybe they can make it work with the amount of control of just solo Leoric. But it's a hard choice to make if they want to make that last pick a damage dealer or a warrior.
So they've got decent damage with Vala and Tyrande, and Leoric does something, but I think if you add a low damage warrior, that would be a little bit low. Maybe Arthas. Well,
I love this.
Cloud9 going with Brightwing.
Yeah, now, this is a hero that they played a lot in the past. Brightwing, of course, having global presence on Cursed Hollow is a great utility to have, but she's really starting to come back in the meta, and paired with Tassadar, it's all about the shields.
And what I really like is, you see Abathur and Vikings things were removed by both teams, which means they want to play a game of fighting, of like equality in terms of experience soaking. Like when the tribute comes, everyone is called onto action. But Brightwing breaks that rule. They're finding a way to use a hero anyway that allows them to actually have global experience soak and joining the party late in fashion with that phase shift ability.
Yeah, Fastart can do that as well, but I don't think we're going to be seeing him in particular. Zeratul comes out here.
What world do we live in where Zeratul is last picked?
Casual fifth pick. Zeratul, of course, offers a lot of control to any match, but fifth pick.
I mean, they're the ones who have Tassadar, so it's not like GIA could pick that to try and counter with the Oracle. And now GIA, they find themselves in a situation where they've got one warrior,
I think it's got to be Arthas. Like, you need a high damage dealer, but you don't want to let Leoric do the frontlining alone, so you take a high damage frontliner.
They're the Bruiser Bros. They pair really well together.
If it isn't Arthas, who should it be, you think, Jake?
Outside of Arthas, I mean, other Bruisers can work. Of course, Artanis is not in play in this tournament, so it wouldn't be Artanis. I would like that pick if he was here. Oh, a Nubarak!
Decent damage, not as much as Arthas, but more mobility and disabling of the enemy heroes.
Very interesting. Now, Anubarak does have those big initiations. Burrow charges get in, stun multiple targets. You can then follow that up with the Lunar Flare of Tyrande. Sometimes you can stun 2 to 3 people at a time with those plays, and that could be the setup you need to really get those early takedowns.
It's going to be interesting, actually, to see in terms of heroics, who picks what. You know, Anubarak, I feel like it's very open between Locust Swarm and Cocoon. A lot of the time, most teams, they like to go towards Cocoon a lot more. And even on Leoric, you know, March of the Black King or Entombed.
Yeah, I think we could even see Locust Swarm and March of the Black King, because usually when you go Cocoon, you're trying to remove one of the opponent's roles that is absolutely crucial, like the one warrior or like the one support or the one assassin. But it kind of seems like there's overlapping rules here a little bit. So like, are you gonna do only, you remove Tassadar? It's like, well,
it doesn't have the impact of like stalling out Tranquility.
Exactly.
That's a huge use of Web Blast.
They might need to try and survive through potentially their backline being caught into Void Prison, which we'll see here for sure from Zeratul. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Well, it sounds like the first game of the day is ready to roll, so we're going to hop on in to Cursed Hollow here to start out the Heroes of the Storm World Championship opening week. That is a nice horse, Grubby.
Can't be ridden by one of the heroes. They all have their own mounts here with the Judgment Chargers.
All right, guys. Well, on the blue side, that is in fact Cloud9 representing North America. And on that team, we have K1 Pro going to be playing as Jaina. It's iDream on Tassadar. Dunk Train will play as Brightwing. King Caffeine going to be on Muradin, and Fan will round out the team as Zeratul. On the red side, we've got GIA. Alpha is playing as Vala. Blue Way going to be on Anubarak. Lulumi playing Leoric. Rival on Uther. And rounding out the team is God Dog on Tyrande.
Yeah, we see a big meta here in the middle of the map. All 5 players in attendance. The middle waves of minions clash the soonest before any other wave. So why not bring all heroes there? See if maybe you can catch the opponent outnumbered, get a pick off, and then join your respective lanes in the north and south. And this is all full-out 5v5 brawl. Leoric taking a lot of punishment there and manages to race walk out of that. And now every team has to distribute their players to the respective lanes. We see Brightwing and Muradin going top, Zeratul as well. Sentinel revealing that rotation, which means that Leoric can just be a little bit more careful and not get caught out there.
Yeah, and we already see the power of Oracle being used right now, revealing that 4 members in here are looking for anyone that might be rotating. Really having 2 stuns like this in early game, you land 1 stun and you can easily follow up for those early game kills, which can net you, maybe an advantage to getting additional experience in a lane or something of the sort.
Jake, I love what just happened. It's those little things that can show the opponent that you are prepared for a match and that you're trying to squeeze advantage out of every little thing. Did you see that? They were ambushing there in the bush, not with the hope of taking down GIA's heroes, but they made Leoric arrive late in top lane, which meant that they missed the experience of 4 of the minions. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, all those little small moves, like it adds up. I mean, you can see even just a sliver of additional experience could mean you have a small window where you have level 4 over your opponents. Find small timings in those situations to capitalize on and just having support. And Anubarak getting caught up will take a lot of damage, but Burrow Charge is enough to get away.
Wow, very ambitious gank there on Anubarak. He was very close to the gate, but he still took a lot of damage. He's going to tap that well. Have to be a little bit more careful. Zeratul now stealing the enemy vision. Got some action here on the middle lane.
So really, it's just waiting for that first tribute to spawn anywhere.
Counter gank.
Oh, yep, a lot of damage being thrown out. Dan needs to blink away. He's able to do so, and the shields there from Tassadar are more than enough.
Caffeine missing Stormbolt there, but nothing impactful happening. Still a little bit of an experience lead on the side here of Cloud9. See the. I'll tell you about the talent picks. Uther actually omitting the choice of Conjurer's Pursuit, instead going for the Reach talent.
Hero,
and Reach is something that you see quite frequently on
and
Uther
earn
when you
my
have
favor.
a melee on your team. But they're really just saying, you know what, we've got the double warriors in the front line. We want the utility for the additional range for all of our abilities as often as possible.
Yeah, and you just have to reset and go back to base a bit more often to go get your mana.
Now, note that Rightwing is staying in the top lane. That's because of her great spaceship, which is going in here onto K1 Pro just in time. The heal is there, and K1 stays alive. But this means that's one man down for this fight of the tribute. But no, the trade Leoric getting very low himself. Wraithwalk, not enough. Lulubi is going to end up falling the first fall of the game.
Did you see Lulubi going back in there, trying to buy time for the capture of that tribute, but that didn't work out. But he knows he's going to come back soon. He's in the Brave form, he's in the Ghost form. He's going to come back now. Tassadar.
Dimensional shift is enough, and now we have K1 Pro back in action. The Jaina is here, and that is their big damage dealer, especially for the early game.
We see very low health pool and mana pool here on the side of Cloud9. I'm not sure they will be able to sustain through this. They're going to have to do something amazing. Throw charge in, Polymar.
The big heal from Uther keeps Blue away in the front line, and King Caffeine gets the shield from Tassadar. That is a second takedown for Cloud9, and they're starting to back away, looking to tap the well if possible.
Wow, that burrow charge really put Anubrak in a dangerous position. No divine shield yet. Uther was unable to keep him up. It's a 4 versus 5. Should they be doing this? We will know the answer in a few seconds. Brightbreak being focused.
Hunter's mark with the pixie dust is enough for her to back on out of their dungeon. Stays alive. Lumi will end up falling once again at this rate, and Rival goes down as well. Suddenly we're looking at 4 kills to nothing, and that is going to be number 5. Oh, but the heal from Uther denying the takedown.
Zeratul survives with his shield.
Conquering arrow, and King Caffeine goes down.
Wow, what a turnaround.
Yeah, definitely. And now they're going to be the ones to ultimately win the tribute, even though it's 4-2 in terms of kills in favor of Cloud9.
During all this, Jake, look at the top lane. The Siege Giants are pushing for Cloud9. They gave the experience lead here, killing those 2 towers, giving an additional 2 times 400 XP. Some might say that would amount to 800 XP in taking down that gate. The perfect positioning for the tribute, which is random. So they were really happy to see that it was going to be down there, and that put a lot of pressure on GIA.
Okay, so just giving a bit of an update here on the talents, we actually see a Frostbolt build on Jaina for K1 Pro. And this is when you start to see things like Icy Veins come into play. You really just go for this machine gun style tempo mage, I like to call it if you're familiar with Hearthstone, where you just throw abilities out left and right to blow up your opponents.
Yeah, you become a lot more dynamic Jaina player. You're more suited to backline, just poking and poking, rather than having that one wizard that is supposed to do so much work. Now Uther getting caught out here.
My God.
That is an easy pick-off for C9.
And that's the power of Polymorph. You know that Uther is waiting to throw that heal on himself, and you just throw the Polymorph off, you silence that hero for a few seconds, and it gives you a big win of a K1 Pro being hit by that Drain Hope, not going to end up falling. Good turnaround. The Lunar Flare hitting 2 targets, but Lulumi will be the one that falls.
Yeah, it was a good Lunar Flare, but they just don't have the numbers. With 2 takedowns already, now Zeratul coming for his pound of flesh. Caffeine in the perfect position.
And then now we see Gondor.
The body blocks.
Yeah, beautifully done, but do they have the stuns? Lunar Flare is thrown out. The stun at the last moment, and he goes down. Brightwing phase shifting in. Wraithwalk will be enough for our Leoric to escape, and it's now 1-1 in terms of tribute.
And Jake, a dream scenario here for C9. Despite giving away that tribute, they're almost at level 10 against just 8 versus 4. In your wildest dreams, you would hope that it would go like this in your first match of the opening week at the BlizzCon World Championship.
I mean, Cloud9, they've studied their opponents very well here. GIA, they know their opponents as well, but when it comes down to these early game and scruffs, I mean,
fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, yeah.
Brawls.
It's really going in favor of Cloud9.
Yeah. All right, now heroic choices are classical. We won't touch upon them, but Tassadar should be highlighted here, who has gone for the force wall.
Oh, I love this so
Glory
much.
to the force wall, Jake. There's lots of tight corridors where you can momentarily deny an exit to your opponent. We'll love to see that come into play. Now, since the tributes are 1-1, and we've got level 10, practically 11 for C9 versus 9 on GIA, they're not going to contest this tribute. This is not a mistake. They don't want to. They want to delay maybe, but they don't want to try and capture it. They would lose that fight handily.
The power of Lunar Blaze coming to play there, the additional range for Lunar Flare, just great utility stalling that out, but that did buy them enough time to hit level 10. So if they did have a little bit longer, maybe they would have looked to fight for the tribute. Now that they have the heroics, they're definitely not going to give up that third tribute, which would in fact grant Cloud9 a curse.
Yeah, so it has more reward for Cloud9, but GIA needs to try and prevent that.
So this is actually insane. Now that we look at their level 10 heroics, they did in fact go for Local Storm. They did in fact go for March.
They needed the damage.
You pair that with Shadow Stalk, which will in fact give them full heal over time, and you have Divine Shield for those, you know, those very tight moments where you think one of your allies might end up falling. Your team has so much more sustain at this point in the game.
Yeah, very high damage heroics, which Tassadar and Brightwing will need to work at assiduously to try and prevent that from taking someone down. Want to also mention that Uther went for Clairvoyance, having a 45-second cooldown on being able to reveal an area on the map, trying to kind of match Tassadar in his revealing power, and not going for Cleanse, even though Verdant has a stun, which will be able to remove that stun. Now, Dunk Train will be able to get away. That was very nice.
Oh, but a nice force wall locking Tyrande in place. The heals are there, so they have to back away. King Caspian will cost them the safety. And, we see the skirmish continuing.
Oh, 3-man! 4!
All right, they're in the Void Prison. This is a scary setup, but they're playing rather tactically with Lumi. Falling way low. Lunar Flare connects on Brightwing, and their force wall splitting the team, but Divine Shield is enough for Fluway to stay standing.
Straight there, only hitting Muradin. He was being kept out by Tassadar and Brightwing, so that's a lot of heroics down there. 0 heroics left for GIA, and we've still got Force Wall and Blink Heal on the left side for P9.
Okay, Force Wall is splitting the team. Laluni is getting low, he's falling, but he splits away. No, Blizzard is just too much damage, and now this is a 4v5 situation in favor of Cloud9.
Now, if GIA can bring it upon themselves to disengage, they absolutely should. Look at the XP bar there for C9. They're about to get level 13. They're so happy about this extended visit here from GIA. They will be able to get more follow-up kills very soon, of course. The Yorick did come back. 13 is not there yet. They're starting to drive out C9, but I feel like it's a ruse. C9 is yielding the stage for a bit.
Oh, will they manage to pick it up? A bit of a slip up there from Cloud9. But you know, one thing that we have to see at the GIA is less clumping. They're getting hit by the full duration of 2 Blizzards sometimes. Size for them, they're clumped up so frequently. So the damage of those AoE splash abilities is getting a little bit too much done.
During this again, Jake out the top lane, the Siege Giants. Taking down a fort. They did not need any help there. Almost got taken down by minion waves, but not quite, and that really hurts. That's the first fort down there. 2 tributes apiece.
You know, I want to do a bit of theory crafting. As soon as I see something like Clairvoyance, I'm thinking, what are they trying to do here? Well, you pair that with Shadowstalk, which no longer reveals your opponents.
Who can gather this
one? And now
at
Shadowstalk can be really used for surprise attacks. So you throw Clairvoyance, you get eyes on their opponents, and then you stealthily ambush as the entire team. Could be some awesome plays here in this game.
Yeah, that's true. Really good to highlight that. Now, the Lumious team is getting highlighted by Polymorph. We're going to take this down immediately. Tough break. He'll be back sooner than most heroes and on the battlefield, but not quickly enough for them to be able to get this tribute.
This is awful. The tribute will be picked up by Cloud9. Dunk Train gets the curse, the first curse of the game, and now all of the minions on the side of GIA are just down to 1 HP as they will disintegrate.
2 people got taken. Tyrande has no natural escape. They're clutching around her. Divine Shield will be saving her, but the Polymorph has come back.
Just a slaughter right there. He gets polished in that sheep. Just got brought to the butcher. Rival will be able to walk away, but the top fort has already fallen. We can see the mid and bottom.
Is it keep time, Jake? Is it keep time? Are they going for the keep?
It looks like it, Grubby.
They've still got an overrun down for 10 seconds. They'll just satisfy themselves with those 2 towers. They're gonna call in a tactical retreat, maybe do some focused efforts on the middle fort. No, they're afraid of an engagement right at this point.
Oh no, this is the last thing you want to see happen. With that top fort falling earlier from the Giants and the minions, now that the lane is cursed, the towers don't fire back, your minions have only 1 HP, and if you don't defend, you're going to take critical damage. That's 650 XP per tower that falls, and the top one goes down.
The other one will be saved. The curse is about to end in 2 seconds here. As the dust clears from this curse, we see C9 sitting pretty with a 2-level lead and looking over the horizon, which is not that far anymore, to level 16, which will grant them another talent choice here and a big advantage in any incoming engagements.
Yeah, that is a huge window where they're going to have that level 16 talent tier advantage.
My curse subsides.
You're going to look for this kind of play. GIA looking for the party.
That's what you need.
2 members in the front. But no, Dimensional Warp seems to be enough to warp off the wall. King Caffeine gets away, taps it over the fourth. He's slipping away, the shields aren't there. Zeratul trying to buy some time. He has the Void Prison if he does in fact need it. But somehow, some way, no one has died yet.
Zeratul is taking a lot of heat. He will use his Void Prison. Oh, the save by Duncan.
And are they going to try to turn this around? VP did have a nice setup, but they are a little bit weak. Tapping the well right now to restore those health bars. Tasks are a bit out of position for the play.
Now we've traded 2 versus 3 heroics. We've got 3 heroics used by GIA and 2 by C9. We've got Water Elemental got taken out and Void Prison there. Void Prison probably one of the most impactful heroics here, so that's kind of cool that you get that. But what they really wanted in that 5 versus 2 was to get a kill. They focused on Tassadar, but he's got one of the best escapes, so they had to do it perfectly.
And in the split there was also the fact that Muradin jumped over the wall off, and then Tassadar went straight down. They just went opposite directions. There was a bit of indecision by GIA in that moment as to where to go, and just beautiful play by Cloud9.
Yeah, very cool. A big missed opportunity there for GIA, whether it was miscoordination or the statistical, or the stat disparity from being lower level, having less damage.
And they're looking to start their Giants, but on the, or their Knights, but on the opposite side of the battleground, it's Cloud9 taking a boss. Anubarak suspects this might be the case, but he's not going to be able to stop this.
Clairvoyance confirms it. They're on the way, but no, you don't jump in there.
He's going to try to stall. He has Focus One, but the big pop of the strength is doing permanent damage. Probably stalling that out. Blue Wave needs to get out there. Divine Shield has been used, but they're still down the talent tier advantage. King Caffeine just standing on that point, holding as long as he can. K1 Pro getting cornered, does get blown up. That's a huge play here for GIA. Isn't enough, bro.
Wow, it looks like it's enough. Anubarak bought enough time. All the warriors are falling on each side, and it looks like the boss might be captured. So well done by GIA.
Down a talent tier advantage. They managed to sneak in then, take 2 kills, and steal the boss. GIA is back in this.
Yeah, color me impressed there. Anubarak jumping in way in advance of Uther's arrival, but using that locust farm to sustain there, which gave the chance for Leoric to go really hard on the backline. Very well done, and it's exactly what they needed. And just like that, only 1 level behind, getting their own boss, having map advantage with 4 versus 3 active heroes on the map right now, and actually able to get the curse here as well.
Talk about a shift in momentum. Cloud9 is defending the top boss, which they just basically gave over to GIA. They have a curse against them, and there's going to be another boss walking down the top lane.
There's a popular term in the Heroes of the Storm community, which is throw pit. It's when you try to capture the boss, but the enemy takes it from you in a clinch. This wasn't exactly a throw pit, but there was a big shift in the advantage there. It's a very risky maneuver sometimes to take it. And I don't know, man. I didn't believe it too that GIA could do it.
Yeah.
But there they are, back into the match, still with somewhat of a disadvantage. But they're really closing in here, closing the gap.
Yeah, excellently done. And they're looking to escort this boss down the top lane. It has full health bar, just starting to chip away at it now. The curse will cancel for just another 5 seconds, which is a sigh of relief for Cloud9. They still have to defend the full.
As the attacker with the boss, you have the attacker's advantage. Every now and then the boss tries to root or slap enemy heroes, and all the defensive forts are attacking the boss, so there's no real defensive advantage. So they're trying to push here and get some advantage here. In there, Zeratul is going to be on turn over there.
And so the curse
A lot of damage being done from the Blizzard, but the boss is starting to chip away. Now notice Tassadar is using his shield to try to keep the health of the team as high as it can be. Shadowstock being used by Piranha, keeping that whole team topped off in the wall. Not really doing a lot. Blue Wave just has to take that shot off the boss, about to fall, but is it too much today? I think the keep is going to go down here, Grubby.
Yeah, and Big OP without price. the Black King. Keep goes down the first keep in the game.
I can't believe this turnaround from Lumi doesn't even end up falling. Mark plus the heals were more than enough for them to all walk away with their lives.
Well, Jake, where are we? We've got one keep advantage for GIA, but still leading in the level for C9. Where do we go from here?
You know, this evens things out quite a bit, but level 20 Storm talents do make quite the difference. GIA, they have to be, wary of the state of their lanes. Middle lane completely pushed out. They just want to push that out, grab their mercenary camps, regain their control tower, their watchtower, and then just stabilize for the next tribute.
Okay, so look for C9 to dodge coming conflict. They don't want to get a fight here, which could potentially let them reach level 20 simultaneously. It's in the best interest for C9 to run away, even meeting in such a chance encounter in the jungle. It's one-on-one. Let's not try to chase that Anubarak. They just want to try and get level 20 and try and leverage that to capture the next objective point, potentially.
Exactly why you're seeing a bit of passive play. Now, Cloud9 does suspect they would go for these Giants. It's the one map objective that's available right now. So they're going to see that picked up and say, all right, we have eyes on the enemy team.
Okay, so we're clearing out these bruises here. Once these are down, well, they actually can't keep it down. We've got the Shadow Stalk here. Brightwing will be able to jump away on Jaina there. Tassadar got the Force Wall. That's a good disengage. Tribute is spawning, and level 20 is out.
Level 20, yes, there it is. Picking up the Storm Talents, Rewind and Murden. That means double the Dwarf Toss, double the Storm Bolts, you name it. Actually, triple Rewind, double Poly for Brightwing, and Zeratul also going for 4 Rewinds here, Cruffy.
Oh, even Tassadar with extra shields, storms, and of course that E ability that gives him his escape where he heals as well with that dimensional shift. Now, with level 20, you can't just sit back and say, well, here you go, sir. Would you like some tea and coffee? And would you like a free level 20? No, they want to leverage that advantage. We're starting to push in here at the top lane. Look for Leoric to instantly Hearthstone back.
Yes, he needs to do that because Cloud9 sees him from their minions in the top lane and they're starting to pressure this bottom keep, taking a lot of damage. Leoric not even back in base yet, but Cloud9 suspects that he might have returned. They don't have eyes on him.
Oh, wow. Leoric,
he stayed.
He's like, it's either dead or it isn't, but we still need level 20.
Yeah.
It's a really rational point of view. Like, they got the keep, and he really couldn't stop that because you don't want to go hard 5v5 in a 19 versus 20, as much as you see that happen in some random matches sometimes when people play the game, but not at this level, not at this competitive level. He did his work. They're getting closer to level 20, which will give them a fighting chance for the second.
If you wish my blessing,
for the boss again. This level 20 window is all but gone. Their top lane is pushed in. They need to respond to that soon. Tassadar using Oracle rather early, but it looks like Cloud9 will be happy to give up this next tribute and favor collecting the boss of their own.
Now with this boss, it's got a freeway to the core. They won't be able to cancel the tribute, so what GIA wants here is to capture the tribute and then skedaddle back home, take the high road, and go and defend that boss. They're all Hearthstoning here, and no interrupts on that Hearthstone by C9, so they'll be able to defend that. It's too risky, don't you think, Jay? To push in with that boss and try and finish the game 5v5, 20 versus 20.
You know, they're doing it, which just means they're confident. They want to force the hand. Now, being revealed there by Clairvoyance could dissuade Cloud9 from pushing in, but no, they're confident. Oh my goodness, the Force Wall setting up a lot of damage, forcing out the Barrage Charge and the Wraith Wall for the two warriors respectively, but the Lunar Flare also connecting, and Fan does manage to walk away unscathed.
Pulling more on the Anubarak there. He's got his Locust Swarm already, which is keeping him out. Be a little bit careful. Still at Hardened Shield though. It was Snail Shield that we talked earlier.
But those are two big cooldowns already being used in this fight. That's not what you want. The boss still at half health. Throwing down a root, hits no one. Stormfield goes off. Avatar has been popped. The fight shield has to use to keep Tyrande up.
This is a good straight by Vala, doing a lot of damage here. The boss is getting lower and lower. Will be taken out by the core. Shortly here, Void Prison is locking the Russians around the 4 bit there. We've got all the major heroic cooldowns down. Really weird march to the Black King, but keep in mind you can use that as an escape because you've got unstoppable.
Oh my god, the big Lunar Flare followed by the Burrow Charge. They need the Force Ball. It is available. Throw it down here. Fan trying to slip away. Is Blink available? The Blink heal from Brightwing to keep him up. Force Ball blocking out the team, but no, Fan goes down.
Now, if that's the only hero they lose, they can still salvage the situation, but if they lose more, this could be a game point here. They might be able to finish it off there from the top lane, since the keep is already taken out. Nice disengage there with the Force Wall.
Stormbolt goes out, but the core is at 62%.
Yeah, it was at 68 when the fight started happening, the chase fight, so there must have been a few catapults that shot a few more shots. Gonna get the tribute now, 2 versus 1. That's a pretty big softening up of the core, 62%.
Yeah, suddenly you're at risk of the enemy team just diving on your core. Now, it's not super squishy, but still they can try to find an opportunity like that.
There's a moment coming up. There is a moment coming up. 5 versus 4. They're starting the boss, which means they will get backstabbed. Luther just used a big cooldown, used Holy Light. They're coming in here. Force Wall can be a big disruptor. One around the middle. Force Wall, they're being locked in here.
This is a risky play by Cloud. Yeah, they're playing pretty passionately. They're trying to but a lot of damage is going off the root from the boss, locking down Blue Wave for a little bit too long, and the stop does connect on the Nubarak as well. The root's being blown out. Tirana will be blown out here. Polymorph is just enough to help get that takedown.
But Brightwing was required for that move. Is in an awkward position. Oh, nice juking there. Very nice. The boss, they want to keep... Oh, it's so low.
Bird is at the point. Bird just goes out. Rival is incredibly low himself. He'll fall and return to his ghost form. Bird can heal, but no, they're not focusing on him. What? BP locking them out, and this buys time for them, but they are still down a hero.
It's a massacre. C9 captures the point the second time the boss was contested. The second time the people who have a man down and come late capture the point. And this, if anything, may we use the word throw pit. Because this certainly looks like one.
Oh, that is the name of the game today.
Man.
And that could very well be it. They're actually going for this wall.
Ignore the keep.
Bypass the keep and go straight for the core.
Oh, what a disaster here for GIA. They were not winning exactly, but they had map control. They had a lower core, but they had map control. They had the initiative. They could set a trap at the boss, maybe. They could disengage, but they actually eagerly went back over there. That's it.
GG, game number 1 goes to Cloud9, the first game of the tournament, sitting in a fantastic position. You can see the smiles on their faces. They're feeling happy, but GIA, I mean, they really gave them a scare, stealing that boss earlier in the game. They put themselves in a great position, taking out the first keep.
Yeah, I mean, C9 was leading for most of the game, and GIA took it back, and they had their fate in their own hands, whereas before they were just kind of trailing behind and having C9 dictate the pace of the game, and then suddenly with that boss move.
That was a crazy game. I can't believe what we just saw. That was so entertaining, so many fights. First of all, I'd like to apologize because we had a stream drop, so we're sorry about this. We apologize for the inconvenience, but now we are back, and thank you for sticking with us. Everything should be okay from now. It's been resolved. So great game, a lot of action. There's a few moments I want to take a look at here in our Windows 10 game DVR replay, and let's jump right into it here if it's ready. So this was one of the earlier fights here, level 14 against 12. We had a lot of engagement every single time. Everybody was trying to disengage if they thought they were disadvantaged. Here we had GIA. They were one talent down, so they're just going to be pulling back. They make it back to behind their wall, but they were cursed. So they got pushed here a little bit, but didn't end up losing the keep just yet. They stayed alive. They really stayed in there, but Cloud9 just kept on pulling ahead in experience regardless. So now we got Cloud9 here. They're level 15 against 13. This is the dream here for GIA. If there is any moment they want to fight, it's now. Because if Cloud9 gets level 16, they're going to be one talent up. So they do a little bit of a trap here. And iDream and Caffeine, they get caught a little bit in this area.
Yeah.
And this looked really bad here for a second. It looked like they might be in a lot of trouble. But in the end, they barely made, I guess it was lucky that it was Tassadar plus Muradin that got caught because they got great escapes available.
Don't you feel like they distributed their damage a little bit among Tassadar and Muradin? Like,
yeah, they wanted both. They thought that they could get both. And in the end, every single one of these disengage was so crazy. Fan escaping, Blink Heal, saving him just on the spot. And this is one of the big turning points here when I thought that Cloud9, you know, they were just going to be able to get away with it. We have GIA that rejoins this position here. And a few players here actually from GIA, we can see they're a little bit far behind compared to the rest of their team. Down there, you can see on the minimap, they're actually taking their sweet time to rejoin the action, but eventually they do get there. And usually when you fight one talent down, it doesn't go very well, but somehow here, they were able to really properly make something happen. The Divine Shield was great on the Anubarak. They ended up being the ones somehow that were chasing down Cloud9. I mean, just through a great engagement, through great mechanics all together. And they won that fight quite convincingly as well. Yeah, they get a few very good takedowns here. They catch up, not just in level, but they are going to get the boss as well. So GIA, with this big win here, they really were completely back in the game. And now we find ourselves in a moment where Cloud9, they've lost one keep on their side of the map, but they went across the map and killed one keep of GIA, so it's equal on keeps here. Both teams have lost one, but GIA, they turn around and they end up chasing Cloud9 completely. We can see both team setups here, just right across another. And GIA, you can tell like here they know and they need to get a few kills. So they're gonna chase really hard, they take down Fan, but in the end, Cloud9, they were so good with the disengage. I mean, having Force Wall to cover your retreat, and Blink Heal also for when Brightwing gets caught, just barely making it out of there here, Dunk Train, with another beautiful play. I mean, this Force Wall was just fantastic here once again. So lots of good disengage. Another very important, well, maybe the most important moment here, I think, of this game. It's 14 takedown to 6 takedown, but somehow it was level 21 to level 21, and whoever wins the fight now, usually they just go for the core and snipe it, right?
Did you think they were going to be able to do it, Cloud9?
No. I thought they were in trouble. This was one of the best moments, I think, by far of this game. So, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah. Everything went up. Every single heroic here were used for them to capture that point, to make sure that they were going to get them to the Void Prison.
What is this?
I can't even capture. Brightwing didn't even really know how to participate. But then GIA heroes, they just start falling and falling one after another. Cloud9, they get the big win that they had been waiting for here in this fight. They get the boss and they just go across the map, take down the opponent's core and finish this game. So a fantastic game here by them and a really nice first map win here on the scoreboard.
They tried so hard, they got so far, but in the end, love it.
Also, there's a great concert at the end. Yeah, wow, that was amazing. Like, it was really hard to see exactly what was happening in that last fight there. Brightwing was like, oh, just throw an arcane flare there and cancel the Void Prison.
Before the Void Prison was finished.
You know what I actually thought was going to happen? Like, we've got 5 heroes on one side, 4 on the other, and they go for the boss, but their core is fragile. I thought maybe Cloud9 will wait till the boss pushes in and then, like, go for the core. I was like, there's lots of options here, but actually it was a classical boss fight, bloodbath melee, and well, we know how that ended now.
That's always how it goes, though, on Pure Solo. Like, when you have these intense games and it comes down to one fight at the boss, you know, like whoever wins it, usually, you know, they can just finish the game.
I thought it's always like that in amateur games, right? Like where it's like, well, every fight that comes up, we have to take it. Like if you play, I mean, Heroes of the Storm is free to play. You can play with anyone, any random set of 4 strangers. You can join battle and do that. So oftentimes you'll see people fighting way too often because it's just that fun. So it's like, oh, the enemy, look and behold, like, oh no, we have a massive disadvantage, but let's just do it. But in this case, both teams were confident. We can defend the boss. No, we can take it. It was a test of will and a test of their mechanics, and C9 came out on top.
I don't know about you guys, but I was really surprised actually at the fight they put up here, GIA, especially when we saw the start. I was like, okay, I guess Cloud9 is just going to take it here. The American champs, they're just going to be too much for the Taiwanese team. But then that big fight win at the bottom of the map, you know, they got some really good momentum going for them. They ended up chasing, getting a few kills here and there, and really bringing it back. But in the end, Cloud9 was just too solid here in map number 1.
Yeah, but GIA, they have to be feeling pretty good about that game because it was rather close. We're going to get the second game of this best of 3 ready after a very short commercial break.
There is some burden that comes with being the best team from your region. You want to show up to the event and you want to represent your region and bring it home. We are the hope of NA at this tournament.
I think the team we're most afraid of right now is probably DK, but I wouldn't say we're even afraid of them.
I think we have a great dynamic. We're kind of like a band of brothers. Our practice regimen leading up to BlizzCon has been really intense. We had about a 1.5-week long boot camp at NVIDIA where we spent our entire days scrimming, even as late until midnight. So we're coming in here with a lot of preparation and we're just ready to hit the stage.
Honestly, I think it was pretty rough for like the first month, just getting used to the Maelstrom playstyle. It was very different from the Vortex playstyle. I think I've adjusted pretty well since then. We've had a lot of time to kind of get used to each other as a team, and recently I think the results have been showing.
I'm probably pretty lucky in that I'm team captain of a bunch of guys who are kind of goofballs. We just don't tend to get heated or upset.
We get along a lot. After hours, after practice, people are usually still on the Skype call, hanging out. We're still grinding Hero League, stuff like that. We're really spending the majority of our days together.
I don't think we put much stock into rankings that are international right now, simply because we haven't seen the way the regions are going to clash. So until you actually play the games against the regions, you don't know how it'll fall out. So ranking sites right now that are speculative just don't mean much to us.
We're really excited about our invite to the Gold League in China. It starts the day after BlizzCon, so we're going to be already extremely practiced. We're going to be really familiar with the game, and we really want to see what their scene can offer.
I think the opportunity to go to China means a lot to me, because one of the reasons I tried to get into pro gaming in the first place is because I wanted to travel. So to finally have an opportunity to go out of the country playing video games is just amazing.
We always thought that we could be the best. We always knew just in ourselves that we could be the best team, at least in North America, if not the world.
Today, we retake our homeworld, and with it, our legacy. My life. StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void. Pre-purchase now at starcraft.com.
就我们一直打电竞，就是想要追一个梦嘛。那打到世界冠军，当然就是对自己的一个肯定。
我们是从7月初成军的，然后卢米大约是在8月初左右加入的。对，
阿法露娜就他这个人个性本身就是不太会去跟队友们相处，就是自己练习。他这个人就是你不用去管他，他就给他自己去练习，他就会进步，也不用特别去叮咛什么的。
那就是我们因为之前不是这5个成员，那卢米是最后加入的，那是因为中途有一个队员那个去别的队伍了。那我们会有这么大的动力，就是因为想要打败那一支队伍。可是事实上证明我们做到了。
然后 Blue Way 就我们的副坦，就是他本身练习量其实很少，可是在比赛的时候，关键场合、大型比赛，他会就比较认真，就会就是比赛表现会比团练的时候更好很多。所以这位选手其实也很厉害。我们的辅助 Rifle 他其实就是他年纪也大了，就是不会有特别的表现，可是在比赛中也不会犯什么失误，就是一位很稳的选手。
就是他刚开始我们在接触这游戏的时候，会很有耐心的教我们，对不对？然后后面方面自己的操作也是会保持在水准之上。
我自己想要达到目标，当然就是可以拿1次世界冠军，以后也可以拿，就尽量的展现自己的实力，就可以让各国都看到。就如果我们队伍拿到世界冠军的话，我可能会跟别国说，其实台湾选手也是很厉害，就是不仅是在这块游戏，其他游戏也很厉害。就希望他们以后可以多注意台湾选手。
Taiwan has their one representative, GIA, and they're currently down 0-1 to Cloud9. But of course, this is a best-of-3 series, and their chances, of course, still there.
Yeah, 0-1 doesn't do justice to how close it was. It should be more like 0.3 versus 0.7 because that was a really close game. Could have gone either way, but that is the reality. So they're one match away from dropping to the lower bracket.
Yeah, GIA, they need to stay focused. They put up a really good fight. Now it's a crucial moment for them. If they start thinking that, you know, they played so well, they put their best effort, but it wasn't enough, then they might get into that defeatist mental state, which would not help at all. So they need to tell themselves that they got this close, they can do a little bit better than that, and then maybe they'll win and they might be able to do it.
I mean, honestly, they know the strength of Cloud9, right? They even said that in their interview, that this is one of the teams they're most worried about. So getting that close and catching them off guard in some of those moments, that's a big deal.
Yeah, but they know it from seeing it, but it's so hard to extrapolate that knowledge to your own practice, to really weave that into the feeling. And feeling is what they got here now, right? They know that actually they are not that far behind, if at all. And that's, if they use it well with their mentality, that's a really big step up in their mentality potentially.
I really like the way they drafted, actually, even going for Anubarak when Tassadar was already picked, because they knew they were going to have to escape against this force wall. They had anticipated so many of the moves, I think, of Cloud9, if you think about it. And I only realized it during the game.
And being able to read the patterns of your opponent is crucial in these kind of moments, right? Especially on a large battleground like this. They really utilized clairvoyance quite well in that game. We didn't see any crazy shadow stalk maneuvers, but the potential was certainly there, and it's a threat that Cloud9 had to respect.
Yeah, it's a really good point. But like the shadow stalk, obviously always adding lots of heals, but also the Anubarak there with that escape against force wall. Which Arthas wouldn't have been able to do. So yeah, they are on point with their draft, with their studies, and as we could see, their play also.
Well, speaking of the draft, we actually have game number 2's draft ready to roll. So let's get it started here on Sky Temple.
And Sky Temple, first band, not surprised to see Avatar again. It's not per se the best hero in the game. He may not even make top 5, depending on who you ask. But he certainly changes the playstyle one of the most.
Yeah, and Sky Temple is one of those maps where you're going to be fighting quite a bit for these temples. It's very hard to ignore them and be like, well, we're just going to do our own thing, soak on lanes and do camps. So you need to have a composition bearing in mind that you're going to have to fight a lot when those temples come up.
The Tyrande respect. I love this. Does Cloud9 go for Sonya? Sonya was the ban in the last game. If they're feeling overconfident, they could certainly go for it here.
Yeah, I think you either get Uther or Sonya here, or Jaina. They got Jaina last time. I was thinking Uther or Sonya because they are like so top tier. They are so impactful, so strong, and they are given to you now in the first pick. I'm a little afraid with that Jaina pick. Like, are we seeing a comfort pick here? Is that what you think, Jake? Because that could be Uther and Sonya for GIA right here.
Well, even in the last game, we saw how frequently GIA was clumping up, and the damage from Blizzard was substantial. All these times when they're passing through an area, they were going as 3 or 4. And just Blizzard for zone control, let alone, and then plus the damage, it's powerful.
Yeah, Jaina definitely did a really good job last game, and it's pretty much what they opened with as well. So now we're going to see Uther come into play this time for GIA, much like last time again. Do we see actually something like Kerrigan here, or maybe even Butcher come into play potentially?
Could be Sonya. They banned Sonya last game. Maybe that's what they want.
Usually, if you take Kerrigan, Butcher, you take them in your 4th or 5th pick. At most, you'll take it in the 3rd one. You don't need to take it that early. You've already secured Uther. Sonya would make a lot of sense here, but keep in mind also that Murden was picked away from them last time, as well as Kel'Thas was banned. So they're once again going for those chain stun combinations.
Yeah, it seems to be the trend. A lot of good teams, they like to play like this a lot because they know that they can rely on each other to, I guess, follow up whichever stun is going to go out first, and their mechanics. They're going to have a lot of faith in them, but it doesn't always come down to who has most stuns in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, stun is like a substitute for damage because you prevent an escape, you prevent the healing sometimes, so you don't need to do as much damage to finish someone off. Murden again, counter picked away. Not the big stun train there for GIA, and also a potential pre-counter to the enabled melee assassin play for GIA since they have Uther.
Ooh, but going for the double warriors early. They saw GIA really liked having Leoric, but King Caffeine actually opts to play him as often as possible. Considering they have Murden as well, that means King Caffeine probably won't get to play as Leoric today, but he is quite good on that hero.
Going into that second banning phase, usually if you already got a healer yourself and your opponent doesn't yet, it's really good to ban one, but last game Cloud9 didn't seem to mind playing Brightwing and did quite well with it as well.
But keep in mind, Tassadar was picked first, so we do see that, what you're referring to, right, Tom? I mean, we've got Uther picked, we've got Tassadar and Tyrande removed, a lot of those off supports removed.
So banning out Tyrael means they're just saying, you know what, if you want to play that solo warrior, you're probably not going to go for Arthas now. You're probably going to lean towards something more like Johanna in this situation, because when you pick a hero like Arthas, you tend to pair him with a Nether Bruiser, maybe a Nubarak, maybe you're going to go for a Leoric, but obviously not on the table here, and I don't know if we'd see the new Arthas.
Tyrael is one of the favorites of Team GIA, as well as Zagara and Leoric. So with Leoric already being gone, and Tyrael now being banned away, then I guess 2 of their all-time favorites are going to be gone.
Vala here being picked, she brings a lot of damage to the table here. She has her own escape, she's got a heroic that can stun, or another one which is more popular that does a lot of damage there with Strafe. And her trait Hatred means she's more mobile, moving around quicker when she's all fired up and part of that combat. They really like this pick here, GIA, with that Vala.
Yep. And they do go for the Johanna. So this could be a lone warrior, but they're leaving that final pick reactionary. They could pick up a second warrior to have a big front line. Maybe they want to go triple ranged assassin, something that we don't see out of a lot of teams in the current meta.
Yeah, I really wonder here actually Cloud9 where they go to from there, because they've got 2 warrior, 1 damage dealer. They need a healer no matter what, but then what do they go for as last? A melee assassin seems difficult when there is an Uther against them, a really good tank, some good damage dealers as well.
You've got Blind from Johanna, she's got all this disabled, so does Kael'thas. Sylvanas would oh, okay. So
we see that actually very often against an Uther. When you don't really have an answer to your opponent's composition, you just go for Sylvanas and you rely a lot on that consistent damage that she's going to do, not just, you know, in terms of depushing and minions, but even in fights with the Wailing Arrow. So she's got a great kit.
You can never forget the power of Wailing Arrow. A big AoE silence. You can see it just obliterate the minions there, but look at the Ravenous Spirit. Oh, turn that off. The silence just, it shuts you up.
Turn off the lights. So one more support is needed for Cloud9. Which one would you want? You've got some sustained damage, you've got some burst. Kharazim is an option. We saw Rhaegar in the winning match for Cloud9 again in the North American regionals. They have some options here.
Dungtran is really not known for running Kharazim, but Brightwing makes a lot of sense with Asadar specifically, so I don't think we'd see Brightwing either.
Ah!
Oh, what? What?
That's probably the reaction of GIA when they saw this.
I can't believe it. Morales,
the most recently introduced playable hero for Heroes of the Storm in, right now that is playable at BlizzCon. Lieutenant Morales, low damage output, low self-protection. What she brings is a very high constant train of band-aids for the person that she's healing.
But she needs peels, and that's why you're going to see this in a double warrior situation, but Anubarak does have the dive needed to potentially lock her down.
If you look at the entire lineup, though, of GIA, there is nobody that really can go behind the enemy lines to go and pick her up and properly kill her, because obviously the rest of her team is going to be covering her. So more or less, she's played well. She just stays so far. She keeps on healing very consistently, and then Steam Drone or is Grubby going to scream again, even worse this time?
Are you saying that this is a Cloud9 win for the draft?
Maybe.
Well, Anubarak can dive
I don't know if
deep.
I would go that far.
Yeah, he can.
Johanna cannot, but she has to protect the backline. So we don't have any melee assassins. So Morales, we might see a zero-death Morales game. And if Morales doesn't die, she's kind of the equivalent of Sergeant Hammer in the healing department, because if she doesn't die, she has one of the highest healing outputs in the game on a single target hero. So this is so cool. We haven't seen Morales on a stage this big before, and I can't wait to see how that's going to work out.
Well, it sounds like these guys are rooting for Cloud9 after we saw these drops. We want to know what you guys think, so head on over to Twitter and join us at Esports Heroes. Use the hashtag HeroesWC and let us know which team you think will advance here to the next round. And on that note, we are actually ready for game number 2 on Sky Temple. Let's get into it.
Cloud9 versus GIA. Cloud9 leading 1-0, now picking up the Morales here on Sky Temple.
Okay, on the blue side of the battleground, that is Cloud9 currently up 1-0. It's K1 Pro playing as Jaina. Dungtrain will be on the medic. Lieutenant Morales. Fan is going to be playing as Sylvanas. I Dream on Muradin, and King Caffeine playing as Leoric. On the opposite side, we have GIA on the red team. It is going to be Alpha playing as Kael'thas. Blue Way will be on Anubarak. God Dog representing Vala. Lulumi on Johanna. And Rival rounding at the team as the support, Uther.
Now everyone's starting to go into the Watchtower here. It's a 5-man brawl potentially, depending if someone yields the stage here. Caffeine stays a little bit close. Misses his skeletal swing. We've got it dead there from Johanna. The burrow charge in, and it's Morales who's taken down. Not a zero-death Morales game.
Not quite. And you know, that's the thing, right? Morales, if she's ever caught out of position, she is so vulnerable. She doesn't have a huge health pool. They recently upped it a little bit.
A little?
But
20%. Going from 700 to 840.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But she cannot heal herself.
Right.
And she needs to stay out of combat for a full 4 seconds before her self-heal activates.
And it's a really big self-heal, but again, out of combat. And when the enemy is focusing you, you will not be out of combat for 4 seconds straight.
No, pretty much never. All right, well, a nice start here for GIA, but it really hasn't netted them a huge experience lead, more a statement of saying your Morales is never the same.
That's right. Now, we see some rotations here, maybe seeing if you can catch someone out of position, but also just because it's an efficient way to clear minion waves. Think about it like this. If you're in a minion wave and you're slowly clearing by yourself, single Vala, multi-shot, auto-attack, multi-shot, you're in a very predictable location for too long period of time. So generally you see pro teams going together, clear the minion wave fast, get out, and start making a secret of your whereabouts again.
Well, the first temples have spawned, and Cloud9 is controlling the top one. Middle temple, currently uncontested. Looks like Jaina scouting it out, will control it for a short period of time. But with the larger presence here in the top lane, Cloud9 does back up.
All right, we see now Cloud9 with 2 versus 2 at the middle. We have a 3v3 at the top. Kel'Thas, Jaina, actually, Kel'Thas, a scorned lover in the role-playing part of the rich world of storytelling of Warcraft. Now they're fighting for that tower. It's a little strange, but vision is sometimes power, knowledge is power. Now have the top being captured by Team GIA.
Mages fighting over knowledge is like every fairy tale, every storybook we've ever read, Grubby, and it's just so fitting here. But the rotation into the top lane, a lot of damage going off on Uther. Right away, the takedown quite early in this battle, but Fan is solo himself. The Wraith Walk is enough to escape, but now it's Muradin getting very low. The Living Bomb isn't enough. No, the heals from Morales are enough.
All right, Morales is kept up. You saw the immediate disengage attempt by Cloud9 as they took down Uther, because he's got that 10-second period where he can do 6 heals with Flash of Light on his ally. So it's very hard to get follow-up kills unless you've got a dominating presence there.
Okay, well, the final shots of the mid-temple take out that final 4 in the mid lane, and Cloud9 is sitting at nearly a full level advantage very early in this game.
Advanced block being picked up by Morales there on the 2nd level, being able to block 3 basic attacks for most of his damage. The first one is the incubation, the longer second safeguard. It's her second ability where she can do a 4-second spell where she does a damage reduction on one of her allies, so they don't take as much damage from enemy shots. Rotation here.
A lot of damage going off on Fan, who did manage to slip away, but Jaina might not be as lucky. K1 Pro, the big blizzard slowing down the opponent, will be safe in this bottom lane.
A 5-man bottom here, even before the temple is up, is rather potential.
Is doing so much damage. GIA is getting Lumi, and Kickout being hit by the burn charge. The heal from Medic, keeping him topped off, just barely staying alive. Such a close battle.
Yeah, Morales kept Leoric alive there. And this is a little bit... Okay, we need to point out here that GIA rotating as 5-man bottom. Yes, they killed the Giants, but whenever you go somewhere as 5, that's an investment as much as putting your money on the piggy bank. Well, not in the piggy bank, on the bank. And you want a return on that. They did not get a return because they did not get a takedown. And whenever your investment doesn't work out, you've got a loss. That loss is reflected in the experience difference there. With a level 7.5 versus 6.9 or so, and that might come into play rather soon.
Yeah, I mean, the quest to level 10, if you have heroics for your opponents, you have freedom to take advantage, go for aggressive mercenary campaigns, force them away from the map objective. There's so many different things that can be done in this situation.
Uther, what are you doing? Holy Fire! What? Holy Fire is rather popular for Uther in the Hearthstone. The card game from Blizzard. 6 mana, 5 damage, 5 healing. But here, it is
unheard of.
It's somewhat of a 40% active power of what Burning Rage normally does, which is a level 13 talent. It's a very small damage burning aura on Uther, and because he's not really a warrior, a tank, you don't usually see that much value out of it, but he took it.
He didn't go for reach this game, which means he intends to be in the front line more frequently than the previous. Actually, a lot of talent changes. It's more of a multi-shot follow-up to the Hungering Arrow that we saw last game. Really just diversifying their plays off, working to see if it works.
Goddog taking a lot of damage there, getting kept up by Uther, but that means no more cooldowns to save Johanna.
Balumi goes down, and Junk Train has to back away. And with this, he's turning around to keep those heals up. The Dwarf Shot's getting out of there, but 2 kills in favor of 0 for Cloud9.
A similar start, Jake, as last game, where we had a level 10 versus 8.2.
Yeah.
4 takedowns versus 0, and then 4 versus 2. It's 3 versus 1 right now. And Temple control. A similar lead for C9. They might be keen on not reproducing the momentum swing last game.
And we see the rotation into the top lane to push back this Bruiser camp, which is knocking on the door of that top fort. bottom temple does go entirely to Cloud9. They do have their
stolen enough of my
we see Medivac.
Return to your
Avatar wailing out water elemental, and then two.
And King Caffeine has had some of the most legendary instruments of all time, but the entire team is just so well known for playing New York, really.
Level 11 versus 9. A boss attempt. A boss attempted steal. Can they do it? They don't have the heroics. It's actually 8 versus 11. They don't have 9 yet.
King Caffeine Wraith walking on in their iDream, just sitting on that point with Avatar activated. And he's getting in. Wailing Arrow hits 3 members, 4 members. A lot of damage. Blizzard does get the kill. Alpha, the Wraith walk going on in. Water Alley throws that final snowball, and they're looking for God Dog. But no, 2 kills and a boss is more than enough. Let's make that 3, Grubby.
Oh my God, Jake. Joanna's being body blocked there by the Caffeine, by Leoric there, going with the skeletal swing there, Drain Hope, only able to take him down.
Paralyzing Rage just applies such a massive slow to your opponents when they're hit by that. And now that this boss is here in the bottom lane, I mean, it forces their defense. Cloud9 can do whatever they like. Looks like they want to take out the middle fort.
Level 12 versus 9.5. This is a much bigger discrepancy than we saw last game. K1 Pro hitting some monstrous blizzards there just now on the escaping players, and K1 Pro using the Banshees to teleport in there, getting the guaranteed kill on Kel'Thuzz. Now they're looking to box around the opponent. We've got level 10s coming in. Just taking a look at the cooldowns here on the heroics. We've got Medivac and Entomb, and very soon we'll have Water Elemental and then Avatar following shortly. There is a 5 to 10 second window where we've got a heroic availability advantage for GIA, but they're unable to leverage that as C9 is not keen to seek a fight right now, right before they get 13 with their heroics down.
C9 putting their presence here in the bottom lane. They know they've already weakened the bottom keep from using the boss, and once the top fort is destroyed, the focus will go down to the bottom keep. So this is very preferred for them. And Rival taking so much emphasis on fight, Wailing hitting 2 targets. Isn't enough? Cloud9 starting to reposture, and Rival does go down.
Yeah, and he uses the Divine Shield on Uberak, the true time for support, not using it on himself. He's still able to use his Holy Flash there to keep Bala up. Verdin is able to get away. Lulumi in a deadly wedlock with Jaina. Oh, and Uberak!
I mean, every time someone in Cloud9 gets slow, they just rotate in and out and shift the damage. Morales will change her heal in an instant to another ally and just keep them standing. They have not lost a hero since that first pick on Morales early in this game.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, let's talk about what's happening here, because GIA seemed to take a weird fight where they allowed themselves to get surrounded by the opponent. There was full knowledge for Cloud9 that GIA was there, but what GIA was trying to do was to contest a low priority objective, the Siege Giants, to force a fight before being down an actual talent choice.
Right.
They were going up with level 10 versus 12.5, and that was their chance to, even though it was a disadvantage, maybe it was better than just giving the map entirely for the next 5 minutes. So I kind of get it, but it did not work out.
It's like a necessary risk at that point almost. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. And now they're down 3 full levels. They gave up pretty much all of the temple shots from both of them. And their back fortifications are starting to get exposed, while as all 3 forts still stand for Cloud9.
Yeah, 3 levels, 3 forts advantage.
My temple's magic subsides. Find something else to fight over.
Gonna get level 15, and I feel like Cloud9 can do anything they want.
You know, we felt that last game, but then Cloud9 went for the boss, and GIA actually really surprised them. So we might see Cloud9 be a bit more passive when it comes to going for that boss that sits in the middle of the map. Should be respawning relatively soon, but it's still a bit of a risk even this far ahead.
A little nervous there about what Jaina's doing in the middle. The boss cooldown is actually 1 minute and 25 seconds. Level 16 and 13 will be gotten respectively unless something crazy happens. Crazy might be what we see here. We see them pushing in. Sylvanas, of course, able to disable those towers. Phoenix being used immediately. Verdin taking a lot of heat.
But the heals and the shields of Morales are just too much. Continuing their pressure, Sylvanas has lockdown on all of those towers. Critical damage being done. And this is the map where, you know, losing your fortifications means more than anything.
Yeah.
Not having a tower means your keeps are going to take the damage, and you never want that to be the case.
Yeah, this is one of the few maps where the map objective is very good at finishing the enemy core without you being physically there, using those lasers to shoot it down. Any tower you get, better laser progress on the keeps.
2 talent tier advantage for just a few seconds. Now level 13 has been reached, but that really just tells you the story of how far ahead Cloud9 is in this game.
I haven't seen a medevac yet. They haven't needed it yet.
Yeah, I think they've used it a total of 1 time. And here's the thing, if you lose a keep and you know that the enemy team is sitting on that top temple, you can scare them. It announces that you summoned the medevac. They might be worried about your form, but they gotta be worried about this situation here in the bottom lane.
Jaina taking a lot of damage there. K1 throw moving back, being kept up by Morales. Burden is really deep. He's being shrink rate, being even smaller than he already was, but he's able to get out. He's got 3-level lead. Very nice wailing arrow there.
Yeah, I mean, Alpha got locked down. Blue Way does manage to slip away, but the Dwarf Toss and the Stormbolt goes out, and that is a kill. 1 kill, 2 kills in favor of Zero makes that 3. This bottom keep will go down.
Excellent accuracy there by iDream, jumping in, getting the kill on the Nubarak, getting the Stormbolt off of Vala as well. Now getting that keep. They look pretty healthy, but don't want to push the issue just yet. Not going for the core here.
You know what? This is where we're going to see Cloud9 get greedy. They know they have a 10-second advantage, so they can go for the boss. Picking up the boss when the bottom keep is already down forces the hand, and that means they can have a free temple up to the top portion of the map.
It would just blow my mind if GIA came here on time. I was actually able to steal this one. They're going to try it, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I mean, even iDream just going forward, bring in a Stormbolt. He can warp off to safety, win the time up, even in the tomb, just showing it off there.
That is the sign of a Leoric with PTSD. You remember what happened last game.
Yeah, right? Dream opting to go back to base to replenish his mana pool, and the 2 members will get out of their medevac and start to claim this top temple, which will power through that 1 remaining fort and start working on the top keep.
Yeah, pretty cool use of medevac. I would say they saved about 15 seconds or so, and the risk of being intercepted along the way. Now the boss is still pushing in, which means a free pass for Jaina and her compadres to push into that top keep. Any damage you do on it means that the laser will redirect its attention quicker to the middle. And that means more siege damage.
They left Morales to solo the temple. Not really the best hero at soloing this. So she actually ended up backing away, realizing that the Guardians were a little bit too difficult for her to solo, and the final shots will take out that keep.
Now all the heroics are up again, except Phoenix, so we've even got a heroic advantage for Cloud9, and they're just looking to finish off this game. Perhaps not in the most thrilling fashion, but certainly one of the most efficient and respectable fashions, just playing out their advantage, going to level 20 and playing it really safe.
Okay, they're looking for the party bush. They know this is their one way to get back in the game with Cloud9. They suspect that they're actually scouting in the opponent's jungle, well aware that they have to be hiding somewhere.
Now that capture is a little bit risky.
Yeah, it reveals, and now they can be collapsed upon.
And that looks like what's happening. Like,
what do we no escape? He's got no escape.
Blown up instantly.
Annihilated. The Dwarf Toss forward for iDream. Stormbolt. No, Gravity Lab comes out first to buy some time, but the water and the leaf
Morales
slowing him down.
Oh, Morales with the concussive grenade from the top, slowing down the Nubarak ever so much. We've got the numbing blast on Uther.
Oh man, this is another. This could be game, Grubby.
The medevac. The medevac.
Flying all the way in. That's Dumb Train all alone, just dancing around, knowing that this game could all be over in just a couple of moments.
Yeah, it's a 5 versus 2 with a 4-level lead. They're starting to attack the core. Kel'Thas, he's in really deep waters. He will get body blocked there. Blizzard misses, but that is all she wrote for Kel'Thas. Shield has been tickled off here.
Just Cloud9 showing that they can diversify their playstyle, busting out Lieutenant Morales here in the first round of the Heroes of the Storm World Championship. The core is down to 50% health, quite low for iDream. They're gonna try to blow it up, but a huge chunk goes down. The Blitz just Cloud9, what looked like a victory, suddenly
Morales,
3 heroes are down.
Medevac out. Abort.
I can't believe it.
We need immediate evac. Wow. Well,
I mean,
I was ready.
A little overconfident.
You were doing your end of game?
Yeah, I was, and every right that looked like they were going to end the game here, and even King Caffeine, like, hanging out in the enemy space.
He's going full Leorki.
Full Leorki. Never go full Leorki.
Never go full
magic
Leorki. Well,
flows.
it's still level 19 versus 17, soon to be 19, 18, 2018. But
They have to contest the shrines no matter what. That middle keep is already quite low. The core is at 43%.
Yeah.
So controlling one temple is just about enough to end the game.
right. Yeah, they can't give away any of those. But the cool thing is Morales should position herself back at the core now.
The medevac.
Yeah, to port all her dead allies back in. And we see her coming closer. Look for the medic to call out that medevac. Everyone get in the hype train. Morales loading up. 1, 2 more passengers. And there we go, the lift off! Flying into the middle. And this was well done for GIA. They gave the ground.
The coolest part about that play is the fact that they didn't know where the medevac was going to go. So they actually evacuated from both of the temples.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is a big deal for Cloud9.
You were mentioning about that.
And, well, King Caffeine are using that Wraith Walk to back on out of there. The middle temple has expired its shots, with just about 1/4 left of that bottom temple remain.
Burden here with the ambush here on the left. He will start his work. Doing a thunderclap there. Stormbolt and dwarfed us out. Nothing happening there yet.
Yeah, they're just trying to deny GIA from feeling safe and picking up their own giants. By having presence there, they're saying, we're everywhere, and you can't do anything. The middle keep did go down, so just the core remaining for GIA.
Yeah, the core just took about 20% shield damage, but Burden is caught out. He's got rewind. He doesn't have hearted shield.
But it will return.
Yeah, that is a big deal.
The game is open.
Full minute where GIA has a chance to pick up level 20 and fight back.
Crucial XP for 20. Talent
boss.
equality. Sure, they don't have peeps.
This is a dicey situation.
There's not a lot of catapult build up yet. Not too much.
And they're going to steal these giants. Wraithwalk is forced out.
Oh, man. This is insane.
Oh my goodness, King Caffeine will end up
shield.
falling here. He's going to go down. The shield for Morales, not enough. And that is a huge window where GIA can knock on the door of this middle lane.
I'm starting to feel unwell. He doesn't have heart shield. He's got Spectral Leech of 5%, max health, auto attack bonus. Removing it from the opponent and giving it to himself. Really cool in sustained fights when you've got all your allies at your beck and call, Morales healing you. Plus,
Is this the ultimate game of throws?
they're starting the vault. It's a 5 versus 3.
Yeah, I mean, Leoric will respawn.
He's got N2
right
though.
there. 5 seconds away.
This is risky.
From Muradin.
Blessed Shield should be used immediately. I want to see a shield glare on the Leoric. No, they got it.
Okay, they will get the boss.
Okay, now, there's a chance here for Morales to fly into the enemy core. What they cannot do is push with the boss, and that's just one of the implied powers of the medevac, which you were mentioning before.
Right.
Normally, you will see a team push with the boss.
This is such a big power set. At 20 now. The team fight capability of GIA is substantially stronger. They have Heart Shield for Nubarak, they have Redemption, a second life for Uther, and Johanna has Indestructible, which is akin to having a second life.
Yes.
So suddenly this team got far more resilient, and in a straight-up team fight, Cloud9, they don't want that.
So we've got Leoric with 1 second life, but we've got 2 on the other side. Vala adding a lot of damage there with penetrating bolts instead of Bolt of the Storm.
Yeah.
Kind of a
interesting pick.
Yeah, ambitious, greedy,
definitely ambitious.
but definitely trying to min-max. You can find her positioning well.
There's not a, I mean, really just Stormbolt you got to look out for in terms of interrupting that strafe. So, I mean, it's definitely a fine pickup unless they want to spend Willing Arrow, which very well could be done. But they're pressuring this mid-key. This is going to be a strong defense needed for Cloud9. Bolts from used on Fed early in this fight. King Caffeine in the front lane, dishing a lot of damage to Blizzard. Raining down, the silence goes down, and Johanna, indestructible.
Vala has no bolts, she's getting focused here, but she's being kept up by Uther. Divine Shield is already down.
But no one has fallen yet. All 5 members in each team are alive, and this keep is down to those last final hit points. Does end up falling. GIA very much in this game.
They gotta get out of here. They've got to get out of here. It's very risky for them. Oh, we've got the good guys of grenades still, Bolt of the Storm. All the escapes have been used. Indestructible is down. Divine Shield, Bolt of the Storm on Kael'thas. If the red team, if GIA gets caught here, they could lose some valuable members. We've got more health and mana on the side of the Cloud9.
The problem being is that if Cloud9 sits on one temple, they win. They have to keep eyes on Blizzard doing critical damage to the team of GIA, but K1 Pro is getting solo. The heals from rallies are disengaged as Medic is too far away, and Dunk Train just has to back it up, but the slopes are enough, and all the while Sylvanas is sitting on this top temple.
This is really smart by Cloud9. They're doing a fight, 4 versus 5. They know they might lose it.
God
In
dog.
fact, They win.
Drain home does get the takedown. That's going to be Alpha falling next in this game, which we thought was over much earlier. Will be ending very soon. iDream staying alive with all of that self-sustain of Muradin.
Morales.
But, yeah, Morales just holding that point. Sylvanas going straight to the core. GG!
Wow, they won the 4 versus 5 while capturing the temple. Morales literally winning the game there. Capturing that temple point. An amazing game.
Just beautiful decision-making at the end, too, like Sylvanas going up, forcing Kael'thas to retreat. Kael'thas' only goal was get them off the temple. That will end the game. And the moment that you're split up and you have split focus in the team fight, you get picked apart.
Yeah, there was just too much pressure on the side for GIA.
Absolutely, yeah, that game was crazy. It was very similar to game number 1, in my opinion, in a way where Cloud9, they were ahead and it looked that they were going to be able to win it, but then GIA somehow, they pull a few rabbits out of hats and almost made it happen for themselves. But it was really Cloud9, like they were too solid in the end to let that game fall out of their grasp, and they were solid enough. So there is a few moments here that I want to take a look at, so let's jump into our Windows 10 game DVR replay. This was clearly the most crucial moment here that really brought GIA back into the game. They're level 19 against 16. I mean, usually you just die when that happens. You don't stay in the game much longer. So they were held across the map now. This is very, very important here, what GIA picked to do, because it's unusual. Usually, you know, when you think that you're in this kind of situation, you just go for the temples.
Sure.
You know, over there and there, instead of going across the map and trying to fight in this position. By fighting here, they're basically saying, if we win the fight, we can end the game. If we lose the fight, then they're probably going to take the temples and we're dead because we got 3 keeps down.
Which is a pretty fair bargain considering you were losing quite handily with a 40% score.
Yes, absolutely. It would have been very risky. Usually with 3 keeps down, you can't really do much. So now they fight, and all of a sudden it's looking really dicey. 2 heroes get caught in the entomb. They are trying to pull back, but they know that they have to fight. They can't pull back out of this. They need to keep on fighting and win the fight. But then if you're not winning the fight, what do you do, really?
Right. I mean, they had to do this. Sure, maybe they knew they were the 20, 30, 40% underdog, but they had to try. If they pull back at that point without killing the keep, they're just gonna have to port back because they're really low.
Yeah.
And then they give away both temples and it's over.
So in the end, they just made it out of that position and they got killed in the middle of the map. And then from there, Cloud9 couldn't really lose anymore. But for a moment, I think they were very worried with all that was happening, you know, going across the map, getting killed the way they did. And in a way, actually, Cloud9, they really brought, one of you mentioned it, I think it was Grubby, you said that they might, you know, turn things and try to bring some of the own style of GIA or of the more aggressive teams against them. And I think they really did that because during the pre-game interview that we saw earlier, the video, GIA were saying that they think of Cloud9 as an opponent that's kind of, you know, plays, I think they use calm and ready, you know, they kind of sit back. Whereas now, every single opportunity that they had, Cloud9 went for the fight in the early game. And it caused for so many overextensions from GIA, and that's why they had so much success, I think, here at Cloud9.
I just got to give Cloud9 props in general. I mean, the power of Morales, the newest hero, busting it out, the threat of Medevac, constantly forcing the positioning, and really well done, which means they will in fact be advancing in the bracket. Let's actually take a look at the brackets here to see what it all looks like here for Group A in the first half of the tournament. Cloud9 getting that 2-0 victory means they are sitting waiting for their opponents, which will be either Team Dignitas or Team YL.
Yeah, the top representative from China in Team YL and the second representative from Europe in Team Dignitas. It's a real toss-up. We don't really know. These kind of teams, they haven't faced against each other on such a global stage in such an important tournament. So it's hard to see who Cloud9 will be up against, but we know that they're up to the challenge. They've really showed a very high level of play here.
You know what? We can actually take a look at the schedule as well. A few more matches coming up today. We've got Team Dignitas versus YL up next, followed by Tempostorm and Team DK, and Braveheart versus Na'Vi. Todd, you got to be pumped about Dignitas versus YL.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great, man. I've been waiting for this for a very long time. The 2 European teams, I think they're 2 of the teams that go into this tournament with a lot of expectations as well, but so should YL. I think they're definitely one of those teams as well that can do well, and it's gonna be good, man.
Well, guys, you know what? We actually have a very special interview set up with Cloud9. Anna, take it away.
Thanks so much, Jake. Guys, I'm standing here, of course, with Cloud9, the champions of the Americas region, and now the winner of that last game. There's so much to talk about in Game 2, but let's rewind a little bit, Dunk Train, to Game 1. We saw what looked like a lot of very targeted anti-picks for you guys in that draft from GIA at the beginning. Did that shake you at all?
No, I think we were a little surprised when they first rotated with their trend, but it's not totally out of the blue, and we knew what to do to follow up.
Well, you certainly did. You did win that game, and then we, of course, went to Game 2. We saw GIA prioritize Sky Temple as a map. They really wanted to play on that map. Do you have any idea why?
I'm actually really surprised they chose the 2 maps they did, because I feel like they're really standard maps. And I was kind of expecting, from what I saw in the other regions, more common maps might be Garden or Infernal Shrines. So we were really happy to play on maps we're super comfortable on, like Sky Temple.
Yeah, you looked very comfortable on it. And actually, we saw you pick up Lieutenant Morales. And I'm backstage with Gillyweed, one of our commentators, who's a big fan of Morales. And she goes, "Solo!" just as loud as she could. So tell us a little bit about your use of Morales and why you chose to use her that way.
I just didn't feel like I could reasonably die on that hero against their composition, so it seemed pretty safe.
Yeah, and tell us, you know, if people are watching at home and they want to imitate your Morales play, what are your tips on using Morales that way?
So look at exactly what I did at level 1, where I walked in and got flanked and died, and don't do that ever. And that's the best way to play Morales.
All right, well, very good advice. Congratulations, you guys, and we will watch you as you continue through the bracket now. And we're going to get right back into some more Heroes matches right away, but before we do, let's learn a little bit more about Team YL.
虽然说玩风暴的时间并不是很长，但是我们5名队员，已经在之前的一款模板游戏已经在一起，生活了有2年多了。
在训练时间，他会为我们做很多，包括班 pick 上的一些说法、想法，以及对地图的理解之类的，都会一一的去跟我们沟通。
一路杀过来了嘛，就最大的一些困难的话就是自己一些状态，因为我们有时候可能会比赛的时候，自身状态会比较不是很良好，那么我们就需要花很多时间去调整自己的一些状态。我现在最忧虑的就是队员的一些身体情况。我对现在成绩就是我们能获得暴雪嘉年华的那个资格，
会让我觉得我这么多年的游戏道路没有那么辛苦的白费的坚持下来，会让我觉得我有成功，最大的成功，也会让我的国家获得无上的荣耀。
And it all comes down to this Stormwind champion versus Ogre Brute.
I'm feeling really good about Stormwind here.
Whoa.
Am I seeing this right?
Could be a scare tactic, Bob. Could be nerves.
I don't think scare tactics work with ogres.
You know from experience.
Okay, well, let's not get into my personal life.
Hold that thought. Looks like we have a substitution. It's Tankmaster Overspark.
This guy's a very technical player. His game's about nuance, precision.
Whoa, that's Hearthstone.
Play it free on your phone or PC.
Rated T for teen.
We're definitely one of the hungrier teams for this title. I think we've had a lot of hype surrounding our team ever since even we first started playing.
We've been practicing about 8 hours per day going to this event, and everybody has been spamming a ton of Hero League. We want to get really comfortable in our heroes coming into this tournament.
One of my favourite dynamics for the team is we all like to joke around with each other. We're all comfortable with each other and we all hang out a lot. There's a lot of joking in-game, out-of-game, but when we have to get serious, we get serious.
I don't really have to tell people to practice because everyone is motivated and they want to be the best and they try their hardest all the time.
With Dignitas, I think we show that we have 5 incredibly strong players who all have the ability to make our own plays on the map. We can create situations from anywhere. I think we're very confident in our ability to play every map and play almost any style.
All of our players have pocket picks. Having those kind of versatile picks really gives us a boost in our drafting.
We're really coordinated. We can turn any situation that looks bad into our favor.
For me, winning at BlizzCon, it would be really awesome because we'll be the first team whoever gets the title.
And I think it'd be really cool to, say, oh yeah, we're representing Europe and we came into the first World Championship and we smashed it. Like, that would be an awesome feeling.